Now, Professor Tom Brett, in addition to your academic duties, you got time to write a book or co-write a book.
That's right.
Can you tell us all about it?
Oh, well, it's been in gestation, I suppose, for about 3 or 4 years, probably longer, because the last 2 years have been in cold storage. We
Yeah.
originally planned to release it for International Mayo Day in
Mm.
beginning of May 2020, but just as we had it printed, and the printing was done actually in Mayo at Knock KPS, which was keeping it in the county, and but about 3 weeks after it was all finished, the start of the COVID started, and all travel plans and plans to come to Mayo for the beginning of May 2020 had to be put on hold. And it's only now, 2 years later, that we finally got back. And we came, and one of the reasons I came this time of year was to have an official launch. And we were lucky enough for Sean Rice and myself, my co-author, we invited Sabina Higgins, who's a native of Ballindine, and as you all know, the first woman of Ireland and the wife of our president, Michael D. Higgins. And she wrote the foreword for it as well back a few years ago when I was searching around for helpers to help me do it. And she did a most delightful piece and gave me some delightful photographs for the very front of the book. And she accepted our invitation to come, and we had the official launch at the County Library in Castlebar on the 5th of May. And we were overwhelmed with the turnout because about 80 or 90 people showed up, which everybody found was just amazing at this time of year.
And what's the theme of the book?
Well, the theme is really about the history and geography, people and places, infrastructure, legends, sporting and otherwise, of County Mayo. And it's in a coffee table style hardback book with very good quality production and very good quality paper and very good quality prints. And there are some very famous photographers in there, including one Oliver White from Westport, who adorns numerous photographs in it.
The best of the whole lot of them. And how many people are featured in it, do you think? Have you ever counted that?
Not at all. I was actually planning one time to see if I could find a certain question to see how many they could find in a group, because there are some are very discreet, but I honestly don't know.
But you know how many you've put into it? You don't know?
No.
No. And who are, name out some of the people that we would know or not know, maybe, or surprising ones? Or,
Well, the surprising ones that I came to know, I mean, when I started writing a book, I mean, and one of the, say, if you start doing the history of Mayo, like there, things like the Spanish Armada, the year of the French, Michael Davitt, the walk to Delphi, things like that. But then there are also people who lived here that I didn't know much about in the past. I remember I happened to be in Milan there last week, and I went to the Scala, and of course Margaret Burke Sheridan from Castlebar
that's right, yeah.
was very famous there, and it was just amazing when you bring the living history. What she obviously done back in the early part of the 20th century. It's just astounding. And there are various other people who have lived here. I remember in my medical career, I looked after Sir Ernest Chain of Chain and Florian. Fleming, at the time penicillin was discovered, he was the Austrian-born biochemist who worked at Oxford and helped in that. So, the people like that. And more recently, Brendan Graham, who lives out in Finney, he's and has written numerous Eurovision Song Contest songs and had 2 wins, and also wrote the music for very famous songs. You Raise Me Up, and also Isle of Hope, Isle of Free. So there are lots of people in it. It's really a long list of broad brush. There's a lot in it too for those who are interested in Harry Clark, the Harry Clark windows, which are very common in Mayo, and probably his best example is St. Patrick's in Newport. And I had the privilege of going to see a lot of those churches and getting good photographs of it. So it is a type of book that's you can pick it up at any one chapter and finish that chapter, and they're all freestanding. And it's not like a novel where you've got to follow up the theme. They're freestanding, and there's a lot in it, and the photographic images make the book. I think they're so good, and some of the images there are just superb, and the language really can't convey what the photographs say. So it's.
And what prompted you to write it?
Well, I always thought there was a missing gap there, especially when I've been going back from Ireland, just to bring some memento of County Mayo, that there was no good coffee table style book that encapsulated a lot of the beauty and the mountains, the lakes, the rivers of what Mayo has to offer. And I felt that it was a nice chore to try and do the research for it and put it all together, get the photographs. And then at the very end, of course, the mad scramble to get it all together. And Jacinta O'Reilly at KPS helped me very much in that regard, and she helped, with the design and layout of it, and told me what worked well and what didn't work well. But
did you hand over that test to her now?
well, we shared
Basically,
it.
shared it,
I mean,
yeah.
we were with electronic emails and the internet. You can do that well, and she'd make suggestions, and I would then, if I came across. And one interesting part about it, I had the whole book almost written. We had the whole book almost completed when the Mayo Dark Skies people over in Ballycroy National Park and Wild Nathan area, they came back to me with suggestions that it would be nice to include something on that. And I made contact at that time with Brian Wilson, who works in Balmullet and now with the Heritage in Mayo County Council. I had the good fortune to have a chat with him a couple of weeks ago, and his photographs are really, especially of the dark sky, are just
They're
brilliant.
fantastic, yeah, they're brilliant. Yeah.
They're,
Seen them, yeah.
And yesterday I did some further research on it. I went up as far as Letterkenny, and I was able to see exactly where these were taken, which is, and it was such a beautiful day, like the mountains, it was just superb. We forget how much is on offer in Mayo.
And least of all, you're a Mayo man yourself.
Oh yeah.
Not least of all.
Oh no, most of all.
That's probably helped.
My roots, you never leave the place, do you? I mean, I'm born outside Charlestown, and although I now live in Fremantle in Western Australia, but I've been back and over, I'd say 25 times in the last nearly 40 years.
So that's the cover of the book there.
That's right. And that's a jersey, that's my brother Eamon's jersey that he wore, and his first Mayo appearance actually was in the 1974 All-Ireland final. And he actually played quite well because he progressed onto the senior team the following year. So he had to push his way to get onto it in the time. But
Well, that's his jersey, yeah?
yes,
That's a nice touch, isn't it? Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Keep it in the family.
Yes, well, it's still in his sitting room in his house in Dublin. So it's.
And tell me, how did you get involved with Sean Rice then?
I met Sean in my early days before I studied medicine. I was doing a master's degree in sociology, and I was doing some of the lectures in sociology for an extramural course that was in social action at Clare Morris Vocational School, and I met Sean during that. So we kind of had
You became friends.
lots of things in common, and there's not least our Mayo heritage. So we maintained. So when I knew his career, and I followed a lot of stuff with his writing and journalism, and so when I was getting around to doing this, I would ask him, would he like to come on board? And I was delighted when he accepted.
So this book is available in all good bookshops, as I say.
All good books,
And some
especially
bad
in Mayo.
ones.